Hey, welcome to Leading with Gratitude Live. I'm your host, Chester Elton, the Apostle of Appreciation, coming to you live and in color from the Gratitude Epicenter of the Universe, Summit, New Jersey. I always say, give us a couple of minutes. We'll give you great information, great inspiration, and your own personal roadmap to a life of gratitude at work and at home. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitch. We're on Facebook. Mostly we're on LinkedIn. And I want to introduce our guest. This is by far the coolest guest we have ever had. We're going to riff for about 10 minutes. The full Monty is tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern. I'm going to read this really quick before we welcome him into the studio. His name is Clinton Sparks. Now, Clinton, he is an entrepreneur, investor, executive, author, and marketing maven, disguised as a Grammy-nominated multi-platinum DJ, producer, and songwriter, originally from Boston, Massachusetts. He's a Grammy-nominated multi-platinum record producer, publisher, but listen to the things he's done. 75 million records sold, has won BMI Songwriter Awards with his C Sparks Entertainment Inc. company, as well as recipient of numerous ASCAP Music Awards. He's worked with DJ Snake as part of the Get Familiar Music Publishing. We'll get into that for a second. He's written and produced hit songs for multi-platinum recording artists such as Lady Gaga, Beyonce, Rick Ross, Diddy, Pitbull, Ludacris, Big Sean, Akron, 2 Chainz. He has an amazing book on how to win big in the music business, CBDO, esports, radio stations, Get Familiar Radio, Get Familiar Tech, Close, Boutte, which we will not talk about today. He's also a father of a 17-month-old child with another one on the way. Welcome to the show, Clinton Sparks. We are so excited to have you as part of the show.
Man, let's go walk into your intro.
Loving it. It's so much fun to have you on the show because you've done so much in such a short period of time. And, our show is based on gratitude. It's based on our book, Leading with Gratitude, a grateful way to do business, a grateful way to live. And I just want to ask you right out of the box, with all you've done, I'm sure you've looked back at your life and said, there were certain people or certain moments that you were particularly grateful for that really put you on the path to your incredible success. Can you share one or two of those people with us?
I guess as a music producer, the person that inspired me the most and gave me the chills, I was like, I want to do that, was a guy named Teddy Riley. So if you're familiar with him, he created the New Jack Swing. He's produced for everybody from Michael Jackson to Guy to you name it, he's produced for them. So as a young kid, it was the sound that he was producing that inspired me to become such a fan of music. But it's funny because I feel like when you were asking me that, you were really asking me who inspired me overall in life to just to have the principles and morals and values that I have and the drive to become successful. And coincidentally, I was just talking the other day about I never had any person that inspired me to be a better person or any one person that inspired me to work hard because, my dad wasn't around. My mom worked 2 jobs. So I pretty much had to figure out life on my own by trial and error. And then watching the rest of the world and seeing what I thought was not cool or what I didn't like or things that made me feel bad. And those are the things that made me mold, okay, I never want to make anyone feel this way. Or I never want to look like a jackass like that guy. Or I never want to be like, so that's really what kind of formed me to become who I am. So kind of life inspired me to become who I am, honestly.
Isn't that interesting? Because, so many people, when you think about the music industry and rap in particular, I mean, you're happily married, right? You seem so grounded, and yet that industry doesn't necessarily have that rep. So interesting.
It depends who you're asking.
What's that?
I guess it depends who you're asking.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you life was your educator, and you wanted to be a certain way, and now you've done more than just music. You've branched out into all kinds of businesses. So is it your wife that keeps you grounded with all this success? Is it when you have to change diapers? I mean, what is it that makes you?
Are you asking me these questions because she's in the room?
Absolutely.
No, I mean, obviously, like I love my wife and she's awesome, and she's a big component of my businesses now because she's totally involved with them. But even prior to her meeting me, this has always been my way of thinking and the way that I operated. So again, it wasn't really anybody. I guess one of the biggest inspirations was I never want to be broke again. I never want to be sleeping in my car. I never want to be eating saltines and mustard packets because I can't afford to get something to eat. So I think like that's kind of what built my overachiever, perfectionist mentality. I mean, for example, last night I woke up at 3 a.m. I had anxiety because I was thinking about something that wasn't perfect, right? It wasn't ready, so I couldn't go back to sleep. I went right to my office at 3 a.m. this morning and started working because I'm such a perfectionist. Everything has to be in order. But the thing is, I'm so hard on myself that it's like it's never in order. So it's like I'm my own worst enemy, but it's a gift and a curse.
It's really interesting that you mentioned that because, as I was doing my research on you, one of my favorite quotes is you said, when you compete with yourself, you can only get better. When you compete with others, then you're only aiming to be better than their best, which may not be as good as yours.
Right.
So that's what really drives you, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I've always been, even when I was young, I never fit in. I was always lonely. I wasn't part of any like social circle. I was always just Clinton. Right. And I was the kid that could walk into the school cafeteria and sit with like any table. I didn't belong to one social circle. And you would think being that popular and that well accepted that I'd have all the friends in the world and that my life is great. But honestly, like I didn't have any friends and nobody called me on the weekend. You know what I mean? So, and I think it's because people think you're already doing what you want to be doing and they don't even think about calling you. So the point of that, to what you just said, is that I don't, actually, I lost my train of thought.
your drive, your drive to be successful and so on, really.
You were saying something about following. I got like marching the beat of your own drum vibe from what you asked me.
Yeah. You've really carved it out by yourself. So what was the first music that really inspired you, and where did you get your first big break?
Well, I think the music that inspired me was my mom, who when she would clean the house on Saturdays, or we'd have to sit in the back seat in the leather seats in the summer where it's blazing hot and burning the skin off your legs. And she would listen to everything from, Hall & Oates to Commodores to Prince to, Tears for Fears. And then like my cousin was a heavy metal dude. So like I'd listen to Scorpion and Quiet Riot and like, Motley Crue. But then like where I lived was all hip hop. So I'd be listening to like LL and Run DMC and all that stuff. So I was like, from very young, I was an anomaly in the sense that I would go to the store and I would steal the Word Up magazine, Circus magazine, Mad magazine, and Fangora magazine. So you got like rap, hip hop, comedy, and then like horror makeup. What kind of kid is that? I mean, I should have either been a successful entrepreneur or a serial killer.
What I love about what you just said, though, is you were curious about a lot of different things. Did that help you have such a broad view of that? Because like I'm with you. I grew up in a very musical family and we listened to everything. I mean, my dad was into big band and, Broadway shows. And then, he was the manager of a radio station. I want to get into your radio here quick. It was rock and roll, Elvis Presley and all that kind of stuff. And we listened to everything and anything. And I found that it really helped me just appreciate every form of art and every artist's excellence. Mm-hmm. Is that true for you as well?
Is what true?
that excellence in every genre, because you're in a lot of different places, as far as music.
I think that, you can translate that to this excellence in every person. So that's how I've went my whole life. I've always I think because I listen to so much music, look, I wrote a song called Everything I Know I Learned from My Radio, right? Because all I did was I sat in my room and I listened to radio. So I would listen to like How to Become a Champion, or Billie Jean's Not My Lover. She's just a girl that says this. So, I better watch out for girls like that. So I would learn everything from music, and then I would translate that into life. So when I would see like, a kid down the street like bullying somebody, I would really like assess what would make him do that. And I always wanted to investigate, and I was very curious as to how people operated and what would make them, move the way that they moved. Emotionally, what was wrong with them, or what trauma did they have, or what attention did they need that they weren't getting that would cause them to act the way that they would act. So I think since I was young, when I was young, I was sexually abused for many years. And when that guy was doing that, I was even intuitive enough at 10, 11, and 12 to think to myself, why does this guy do this to me? Like what's making him do this? So like, and people grow up and they live their whole life like, oh, woe is me. Like this happened to me. It wasn't my, and like they go on the rest of their life being upset or bothered or traumatized by something that's not their fault. So, that was that. And then like me and my dad, when I finally linked up with him when I was a teenager, and then I lived with him for a few years. Then we had the big father and son fight when we was like 18 or 19. I was like, I'm going to be a way better dad than you. He's like, you'll see. And then, I didn't talk to him for a few years. And I had resentment towards him up until a few years later, when I thought to myself, instead of being resentful towards him, I thought to myself, what was wrong with him that didn't allow him to be the father I needed him to be? And the moment that I dived into that and seeked out that answer is when, honestly, I felt like I figured out the keys to life, because I lost all my resentment and it turned into empathy. And then I went to my father, and think about, he's a 25-year-old guy who's like, dad was an alcoholic. He was sent to Vietnam. Like his mother abused him. Like, how could he be a great dad at 25? So I had to learn, like, it's not just about me and what I didn't have. It's also about what happened to them and why they couldn't give me what I needed. So I think anyone, if you start thinking like that way in life, it helps you be a better person, have a better relationship, build a better family. And ultimately, if you're into business and entrepreneurship, it really helps that, because when you go into negotiating or selling or problem solving or leadership, these are all the things those are all the traits that you need to understand how to guide, how to lead, how to have empathy for someone that doesn't get your way, or how to listen to people when they don't understand things and or they're bothered. And if you don't have these like values and principles, you won't be able to lead as well. So I think since a young kid, assessing the world and analyzing everything and being curious, like you said, is what allowed me to dance in different industries and excel in all of them.
It's so interesting. I just love that take on life, because, your empathy is so high, and your understanding and your forgiveness is really high. And I think, when you have that mindset, you're right. You're not in a woe is me mindset. You're in a, hey, I get it. Didn't work for you. I'm not going to let you, control that part of my life. I really want to talk to you about your radio station, the Get Familiar Radio. I grew up in radio. My dad was, an on-air guy, and then he ran radio stations all up in Canada. And I just, as I was surfing around, I love this idea about, you said, people listen to radio more than they, watch videos and whatnot. And your ability to get, new artists on the radio. Mm-hmm. What was the incentive, and why did you become so passionate about that?
One, because I was an artist, so I understand what it was like to try to get people to listen to you and get people to believe in what you're pushing out. So that was one. Two, I'm always on the hunt. One of my skills is just seeing talent, whether it's music, whether it's a person that's not, utilizing their skills to the best of their abilities. Even my wife is super smart. She's an entrepreneur. She has her own company, but I'll see like, oh, she could be doing this better, or she should talk to somebody a little bit differently here to get further with that conversation. So it's just innately in me. I actually can't even help helping, to the point that I started thinking to myself, I should stop helping people unless they ask me for it, because sometimes people don't even want your help and they get mad at you for trying to help. I've learned this years ago, and you're knocking your head like, why don't you listen? And realistically, because they didn't ask for your help, man.
Yeah,
And I think that's what a lot of people get stuck at too. They try to help, and then they get mad at the person that doesn't listen to the help that they didn't even ask for in the first place. But that's also comes with time and maturity and growth and understanding that, you waste so much time trying to help those that, one, don't want your help, or two, really aren't worthy of the kind of help that you're willing to give them, the time you're willing to dedicate to helping them, because they're not even invested in themselves that much. So why should you be? And they don't have the gratitude, right?
Yeah.
They don't have the gratitude. So save that energy and give it to somebody who will have the gratitude, and or for yourself.
Right. Yeah, pearls before swine sometimes, right?
Wow.
So what is it that you're really passionate about now? I mean, as I'm surfing through your stuff, I mean, you've got a clothing line, you've got radio stations, you're getting rap artists to invest in like esports and all that kind of stuff. So right now, when you wake up at 3:00 in the morning and are all excited, what are you excited about?
I'm excited about my new book that I just dropped. It's called How to Win Big in the Music Business, forward written by Shark Tank's own Damon John.
Cool.
So I'm excited about this book because this is look, it's a very small, easy, quick read. It's the modern day guide to helping you navigate your way to winning big in the music business. However, although it reads music business, this really, the principles and values that I teach in this book are really about how to win big in life. And it's transferable to any industry, even your own personal relationship. So I'm excited about the book, and I'm also excited about the accompanying course with over 65 videos that also teaches you any and everything from radio to streaming to publishing to producing to creating effective video content, to whatever you want to know is in this course. This is the quintessential only course in existence, and the only course you'll need if you really want to win big in the music business. There's nothing else like this in the world. And the DIY and the independent artist industry is going to be a $2 billion industry by the end of next year.
Wow.
And there's nobody out here educating, teaching, guiding, mentoring, and leading this whole new generation of people that have dreams of winning in the music business, whether you want to be a DJ or producer or singer or rapper, choreographer, a dancer, a manager, whatever. There's so many things to do in the music business, not just being a singer and a rapper. And there's nobody out there that knows it all, that's qualified to teach you everything like I can, and that's actually doing it. So I'm really excited about the book and the course, and we're launching that in about 2 weeks. So that's my main priority, although I got like 6. You asked me the main one, and that's the main one.
Yeah. I love your passion about that. Of course, I love books as well. I love that you got the course to go along with, like you say, 65 videos. I love the quote from Pitbull. He says, Clinton doesn't have his finger on the pulse. He is the pulse.
Pitbull's a man. He's such a great guy. The stories about him in here, stories about Khaled, Snake, Diddy, Little John, Jimmy Iovine. I mean, there's stories that I take the practicality of the story and show you why what I'm teaching you does work, and I use a story as an example. So if you go to my Instagram, the link is in my bio, @ClintonSparks, or winbiginmusic.com. winbiginmusic.com. Then you get the book and the course, and I got products there too, Chester. I got the products alone, and I'm not even trying to sell. I'm talking like as if like I'm your friend. The products alone are worth getting the course, right? You don't even need the course. You would pay just for those products, but you get the products for free when you get the course, and then you get the book, and it's ongoing. I'm not just gonna sell you something and then hit the road. I'm here for the long haul. So I'll be doing webinars. I have a Twitch show that's launching in 2 weeks, and I'll always be doing things with the winning big in the music business. So I'm here to help guide you guys for a long time.
Excellent. Well, listen, tomorrow we're going to do a deep dive on your book. That's where your passion is, and that's where we want to make a difference. And, I always ask, look, hashtag find your gratitude. So give me one thing that you were grateful for today.
This thing right here.
Love it.
My wife.
When my father at my wedding, he said to me, he said, Chess, we got one thing in common. We both married way above our station. And I can tell the same. Hey, listen, Clinton, can't wait to take a deep dive into your book tomorrow. It's 1 p.m. Eastern. Clinton Sparks, more energy, more passion than 10 people put together. Join us for LinkedIn Live tomorrow. It's going to be how to win big in the music business. You're going to love it. We are out.
Get familiar.
See